Hey guys, welcome back to HyperTora. I've got my Tokyo Treat box here for March. It shipped a little bit earlier than usual again, which is quite nice. So it's arrived nice and quickly this month without any delays, which is really cool. I can't quite remember what the theme for this month is. I think it might have been something to do with Girls' Day or Girls' Week. I'm not entirely sure, but we'll find out when we open this up. So if you watch my videos, you may have noticed I've started doing Japan Crate as well. So if you want to see those, you can look back through my channel and see my first Japan Crate video. But as for Tokyo Treat, that's it. So it's Happy Girls' Day, which is a different theme from usual. That we haven't had a theme like this before while I've been having it Tokyo Treat. So that's something different. I don't know too much about Girls' Day in Japan, but there is some information in here about it as well. And some other stuff about Tokyo Treat and other bits and bobs going on there. So, Girls' Day is a day that happens every 3rd of March, celebrated by girls and families across Japan, and it has to do with some dolls and stuff, which is pretty funky. So, let's actually see what we have in this box, if I can find the booklet. And there's certainly some extra information in here about some of the snacks as well, which is pretty cool. So, to start off with, our very first item in this box is Mike Popcorn, right here. So this is from the classic box, Mike Plum Popcorn. It'd be interesting to see what this is like. We don't get much popcorn and stuff like that in Tokyo Treat, so this is quite interesting. It seems to be made by Frito-Lay, which is an international company I think many people will know. The plum would be interesting, because we've had varying plum experiences before, or at least I have. Sometimes they're alright, they're not too bad. Other times they're quite sour, because these plums are usually dried and pickled and stuff, and they become a bit sour for my taste anyway. So that'd be interesting to try out. Next up we have our Amiibo. So this is from the classic box usually, but this is actually from the premium box this time. So it says Sugar Rusk Amiibo. So that's interesting. We didn't have one of these, I don't think, in last month's box. We were missing it. Or not missing it, it just wasn't part of the box last month. So it's interesting to get one of these back. I'm not sure what Sugar Rusk means. It might just be a more sugary than the usual kind of puffed corn. Next up, we have a very nice big Kit Kat package here. This is from the classic box. So it's Kit Kat Matcha Yuzu. So we've had matcha Kit Kats before, but this has got sweet and sour yuzu, which is Japanese citrus cream, included in it. So that'll be a little bit different. I don't know whether I'll be able to easily tell the citrus over the matcha. It'd be quite interesting to try out. Next up, we have some Pokemon goodies. We've got some puffed chocolate snacks shaped like Pikachu's head in a snack pack. We've had these kind of things before. We've certainly had these Pikachu ones before in this shape. So this is a bit of a repeat item that comes across occasionally with Tokyo Treat. It looks like we've got 2 different packets that you can get just with 2 different images on. One's Pikachu in the sort of girls version here, and then you've got a boys version as well. Next up we have, I don't know if this is some sort of tea or coffee or some sort of snack I haven't seen before. So it's from the classic box, it's Chocobolo. So rich and crunchy chocolate treats. Enjoyed with milk, which is pretty interesting, but I probably won't have it with milk for today. The cup makes me think it's something else rather than chocolate, but yeah. Next up we have what looks like, to me that looks like it's going to have some seaweed in it. So this is from the classic box, and it says Baby Crunchy Seaweed Salt Crackers. So I think we've had, I vaguely remember stuff like this some point last year. We've had something similar. I don't know if the packaging is different, so it might just be a different brand, but I'm sure we've had some little seaweedy, star crackery things that look a bit like that. Next up, we have another item from the premium box. We have Peach Caramel Corn, which is pretty funky. I can't remember if this was in the Japan Crate box I opened last week. because my memory's gone already. But that's pretty cool. So it's really nice to have some caramel corns, especially in different flavours. Caramel corns do come through Tokyo Treat occasionally in different forms. You get the plain one, but then you get lots of different flavours, just like the Kit Kats in Japan. Next up, we have some Koala March. This was actually advertised. We got an email about this one coming out in our boxes. Some people from last month's box dropped a comment on the video to say that they didn't get some of the stuff I got. They got a Koala March instead. It turns out Tokyo Treat actually switched out one of the treats partway through the month to put in Koala March instead, because a donation is made by Lottie, who makes these, to Australia for the relief of the bushfires. So all these they've put in the boxes are actually going to help a little bit with Australia in the bushfires, which is pretty cool. So next up, we've got a little smaller item. It says sour on it, long chewing gum. It's got a little dinosaur on there as well. So this is from the classic box, and it says roaring gum, fresh and fruity, popular Japanese grape gum, which would be pretty cool. I actually love grape flavouring from Japan, so that's going to be a really nice addition. Oh, this looks pretty cool. So we got a Melon Pandoro. I love our melon flavoured things. This looks like some sort of cookie. So this is from the classic box, and it says Pandoro cookie. Cute cookie with a fruity surprise inside, with a fresh melon flavour mixing. So that's really cool. We don't often get melon flavoured things in Tokyo Treat boxes compared to things like grape flavouring and stuff, so it's really nice to get these. Next up, we have what looks like a little soy sauce cracker, possibly. It looks familiar to what we've had in previous boxes last year. So this is from the classic box, I believe, if I can find it. Yeah, this is Full Moon Pon. It's a sweet and spicy soy sauce flavoured snack. So I know we've had soy sauce. I don't know whether we've had a sweet and spicy one before. So that'd be something different actually. Next up, we have. This looks like it might be nuts, but I'm not entirely sure from the packaging. It looks more traditional with a calligraphy on the front and the drawing. So this is from the classic box, and it says it's spicy grain crackers. So that looks new, and I quite like spicy things, so that'd be quite interesting to try out. Although usually a lot of spicy stuff in Japan ends up being wasabi rather than the same kind of spice you get from chilies. So this tends to hit me more than it does eating hot food. Next up, this feels like candy floss from the outside, and it looks like it from the picture on the front as well. So we've got a little packet of candy floss. This is from the classic box, as far as I can tell. Although I can't actually see it on here. No, it's actually from the premium box. I misread that because the packaging is a different colour than what's in the booklet. So, fluffy and fun cotton candy. It doesn't say what flavouring it is on the booklet here. So, we've had cotton candy a few times before. It's quite nice to get them in little packages because you don't tend to get that unless you go to somewhere like a fairground. Next up, we have, I can't remember what these are called, but we've had these before in Tokyo Treat boxes. I recognise the packaging. So these are Mochi Taro. So I'm not entirely sure what this is. It's something deep fried and become crispy and crunchy. It's a salty snack. Mochi. It's probably mochi or something. It does actually have the mochi kind of graphic on the front of someone making mochi, so I'm not entirely sure what these will be like. I quite like mochi, but just looking at the packaging, they look like they're going to be some sort of crackers. Next up, we have, this looks like maybe you can actually see it through the back. So we got a nice little kind of gummy sweet there in a kind of rainbowy colour. So this is from the classic box, and it says Mini Monster Gummies. It's a really nice sort of spring looking snack there actually. Next up, we have another savoury snack, and we got a nice picture of a man riding a turtle there. So this is from, if I can find it on here, it should be from the classic box because I can't see it in the premium box. Yeah, so it's right up here at the top of the page. Turtle crackers, tasty, salty, and easy to eat in one bite. So it'd be interesting to see what they're like. I don't know if they're like a puffed kind of cracker or if they're like rice or something like that. I imagine they might be similar to a few of these other things we've got. And then the final item we've got in this box is our drink, which is for our premium box, is a Coca-Cola Strawberry, which is pretty cool. So we don't often get Coca-Cola. They sort of switch between Pepsi a lot of the times when you have different flavourings. It's not regular that Coca-Cola bring different flavourings out. So we got a strawberry one here. I think this is the first time Coca-Cola have done a strawberry flavouring. So this is really quite interesting to try out. There, but because that's the last thing in the box, I'm actually going to open this up first and see what it's like. So you do get a hint of strawberry when you take the cap off that. It's nice and sweet. That's quite nice actually. It's got the flavour of Coca-Cola on there, but the flavouring is actually strong enough to give it a very nice strawberry hint to it. Sometimes we have different flavourings in drinks like Pepsi or Coca-Cola. I find the flavourings a bit weak in relation to the cola. That's quite a nice balance actually. So that's a really nice drink. Next up we have our Lottie Koala March snack. So I have a feeling these might be chocolate. I think it's just chocolate and milk flavoured. Oh, that's a very nice strong smell of milky chocolate. As soon as you open that packet, that smells really nice. And immediately Moorish, that's very sort of making me hungry. So that looks pretty cool. Tell you what, I think it's one of the best Koala Marches I've actually had. That's really nice. It's got a really nice chocolatey flavour, and the cream that's in there, the kind of milky cream, is really nice and refreshing and light. So that's a really nice snack. Next up we have our turtle crackers. So in here we got some little crackers. I wonder if they might say turtle just because of the kind of patterning on them. Here, I don't know if they're meant to be shaped like turtles. They're quite nice. They're kind of a savoury snack. Quite salty. Nothing overly special about them. They're like most crackers, but they're quite a nice snack. And if you haven't had Japanese snacks before, that's probably something that's reasonably new to you. Next up, we have our little spicy grain crackers. So I thought these might be similar to the other crackers, but they almost seem like they've got a kind of glistening sheen on them, as if they're going to be sugary. They do have a kind of similar texture to these, and I think the spiciness is just a little hint to change the flavour. They're not too different. There's a slight different flavour there, but the texture is quite similar to the other crackers once you bite down into it. Next up we have our kind of Mochi Taro. So I'm interested to see what these are like, because these made me think of little crackers as well. So these are a lot lighter than the other crackers. I certainly wouldn't say they're dried mochi or anything else. I'm not sure what the link is there. If you know, make a comment below. But they're really nice. They've got a little bit of salting to them, but they're quite nice and light compared to the other two crackers. So I think so far out of the three of them, this is my favourite. Next up, we have our little kind of full moon snack. So this is spicy soy sauce and sweet flavouring. You can definitely smell the soy sauce in it. It's a little bit crunchy at the same time as being quite light and fluffy in the centre of it. You can definitely taste the soy sauce to it. It's not an overly strong soy sauce flavouring. I don't know, it wouldn't be the snack that I'd pick up off the shelf. But if I was given it, I'd probably eat it. It's not too bad of an item. I tend to prefer the sweet things, but it's reasonably nice as well. Next up, we have our Melon Pandoro. Now, I think this is a cookie. Oh, it's broken to pieces in there. So unfortunately, when we got this stuff that comes all the way from Japan, it can sometimes get a bit shaken up in the box. But we got a cookie that's meant to be shaped like a panda. And there's still little bits in there. And this is obviously meant to be melon flavoured. It's really nice. It's got the melon flavouring to it that you come to expect with the kind of sweet melony snacks you get from Japan. They have a very distinct concentrated melon flavouring. And that one, it's quite a nice cookie. It's not got that kind of creamy tang sometimes you get from some of the cookies that you find in Japan. Sometimes I find those things, I don't know if it's kind of milk they use, has a little bit of a tang to it. That's not too bad actually. Next up we have our Kit Kats, which has a citrus hint to them. So we've had matcha Kit Kats on their own before, but we've not had these ones here with the citrus sort of addition flavouring to it. Now I love, if you haven't had Kit Kats in Japan before, they tend to get these little ones have areas on the back you can write messages. In Japan it's quite traditional to give these out as good luck treats before exams. So I can smell some citrus in there with a kind of sweetness. Matcha on its own can be quite bitter, that's why it's not too bad when it's a chocolate because it's usually quite sweet. That's quite nice actually. I kind of got a hint of matcha straight away, but the more I ate that, the more the citrus came through. And most of what I can taste now is the citrus, even though that's bright green. That's really nice. I love the citrus flavouring in that. I've had citrus Kit Kats before and matcha Kit Kats separately, but not combined. That's quite a nice combination actually. The citrus kind of takes away from the bitterness of some of the matcha in there, which is quite nice. It's not as milk chocolatey as you get with a plain matcha Kit Kat, but is made to be a bit lighter. But nonetheless, it's really nice. Next up, we have our Sugar Rusk Amiibo. So this one doesn't have a hole in the middle like we used to with the Amiibos. I don't know if this is just made out of sugar. It's definitely sweeter. I think our usual Amiibos are almost sort of made out of popcorn. This one's not quite puff sugar either. I'm not entirely sure what to make of that, but it's a lot sweeter than usual. And it's quite nice. It's not as corn flavoured as you usually get with your Amiibos in the Tokyo Treat boxes. Next up, we have our caramel corn, which is peach flavoured. So this one's quite vacuum packed. There we go. So these are nice and pink. Smells really nice and peachy. I think we may have had these in the Japan crate box I got for last month. Just remembering the smell. They're really nice. You've got some lighter coloured ones in here as well as the more pinkish ones. That's really nice. And the peach flavouring, I found the peach flavouring from Japan is really nice and refreshing. Out of a lot of the fruits, different fruit flavourings you get in treats in Japan, I find the peach one, if I'm thirsty, kind of makes me feel more refreshed. Yeah, next up we have our Seaweed salt crackers. So these ones always remind me of Quaver potato chips, or crisps we have in the UK. So they're little specks of seaweed on these. They're kind of puffed up snack that you could put on your tongue and it would probably dissolve. They're quite a nice savoury snack. They're quite plain, with a kind of hinted of the seaweed and slight saltiness to them. They're really nice and not overpowering. So if you're not used to strong flavours, these are really nice. Next up, we have our Pikachu chocolates snack. So like I said, we've had these kind of things before. The little puffed snacks that are made to look like Pikachu's head. These particular ones come in chocolate. They remind me of flavour a bit like if you have Cocoa Pops. A bit like those. So that's really nice. I love the chocolatiness of those ones. Next up, we have our cotton candy to try out. So this one's white in colour. Can't quite smell a flavour to this. I think this might just sort of be a plain cotton candy. I can't taste any flavouring in this. Normally you get a hint of something. If you've got this box and you think there's a flavouring to this, do comment down below. But I think this is more of a plain flavour, just sort of pure sugar almost. Next up, we have our little chocolate balls. So these remind me of little cereal, chocolate cereal balls. They're just like little chocolate cereal balls, which would probably be why this said it goes really nice with milk. It probably would. I think I'd probably quite easily put that in some milk and have that as a cereal for breakfast. Next up, we have our little strip of gummies. So I imagine you might be able to strip these different colours apart, but I'm just going to take a bite of it as one. That's really nice and fruity. It's got a kind of sourish tang to it, which if you're in the UK, it reminds me of flying saucers. It kind of has that kind of powdery, sugary flavouring to it. But none of this, it's quite nice. Next up, we've got our grape gum. Now, I'm always apprehensive about eating gum on video because it's gum and you can't really just sort of swallow it. And that's really nice. It's got a nice strong grape flavouring to it, which I'd come to expect, especially if you kind of got a grape flavoured drink from Japan. It's got that kind of same strong tang to it. But nonetheless, that's a really nice gum. If you like gum, definitely worth a try. Our final item in this box is our popcorn, which is plum flavoured. So these don't open too well this much. I'm apprehensive about this. One, because sometimes I find these, I've had a proper sort of pickled plum when I was in Japan back in 2015. So it kind of put me off the pickled plum slightly. It definitely has the plum flavouring in there, and it's got a very sort of sharp sourness to it from the pickling, which you come to expect if you've had pickled plum before. It's interesting to try out. I'm not quite sure I'd pick this up off the shelf deliberately to eat it, but I'm interested to see what you guys think of this, whether you like it or if you don't like it. If you get this box, what you think of the flavouring. Please do comment down below and let me know what you think of this one. We've had other weird pickled plum things before, so it's always interesting to see different things that we can get, and I think that's one of the points of these boxes. while it's nice to get a load of things that you like, it's really nice to sometimes just try things you wouldn't necessarily go and pick up off a shelf or think to go and try if you went and visited Japan. So it's really nice to get a range of things to try out that you've never had before. But that's everything in this box. I did think there was meant to be a DIY based on some of the emails we had come through during the month, but there doesn't seem to be a DIY in this box either. So that's the second month in a row we haven't had one, which is a little bit disappointing because the site advertises DIY as being a thing that's meant to be in the boxes. So I'm not entirely sure what's happening with Tokyo Treat at the moment in terms of the DIY items. I know they've recently sent an email with DIYs they've been putting on their store, which is their separate shop, which are more interesting, the kind of bigger DIYs, the kind of things that I'd hope they'd start putting into these, like the microwavable ones where you can make your own little taiyaki octopus balls and stuff. So it'd be really nice to see some of those in here, but we haven't yet got any come through. But yeah, so an interesting spread of items. There's a lot of savoury items and a mixture of some chocolate items in here. I wasn't expecting so many sort of crackery items in the same box, which is a little bit unusual. Some of the themes I think with Tokyo Treat don't always match the treats so well. I think like strawberry does match Girls' Day a little bit with the kind of pinkish theme, but a lot of the other things are sort of here and there between the chocolate or the savoury snacks. But yeah, let me know what you think of for this box down in the comments below. Let me know what you think about the DIY. Two months in a row we haven't had a DIY, so let me know what you think about that down below as well. But otherwise, thanks for watching. Please do hit the like button down below if you like the video. Please do hit the subscribe button as well if you want to see more unboxing videos and keep in touch with what's going on. Otherwise, thanks for watching and I'll see you guys next time.